Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Lost Archives, a Star Wars Legends lore series. Today I'm going to be talking about the Dark Trooper project. Now that my Let's Play of Star Wars Dark Forces is complete, I'll now go into a little bit more detail on the project. So originally the Dark Trooper project began early on in the rise of the Empire, and the main goal was to return veteran clone troopers into active service duty despite their aging bodies. Now the way in which this was done is that most of the clones would have over 70% of their body replaced with cybernetics. This did have a notable effect in that it was fully able to return the clones to active service, and they were still able to serve in an elite trooper role. Now if you've played the games Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2, the Dark Trooper you use in both games is actually the cyborged clone troopers, and they're then equipped with a jetpack and an arc caster in order to give them a greater effect. Interesting would be is that if the arc caster was then turned on them, it would cause significant damage to their own bodies. Now, despite the successes of the Phase 0 of the Dark Trooper project, it was ultimately considered a failure overall because the majority of the candidates who were inducted into the program were done forcibly, and a lot of them couldn't adapt to having most of their body replaced with machine components and ended up committing suicide. So despite the project being a success in meeting its goal, the longevity of the troops wasn't assured. The small bonus that it did give the Empire is that it was able to create the Purge Trooper, which was something that was first introduced into the Force Unleashed games, and the Purge Trooper was used specifically in an anti-Force user role. Now, unlike the cyborged clone troopers, the Purge Trooper was a step away and a change in direction in that it was a complete droid-controlled unit. Something that the first few phases of the following Dark Trooper project would seem to mirror. After these initial setbacks, the program was shelved for quite a few years as other projects, say mainly the Death Star and various other superweapon projects, came to the forefront, something which at the time Lieutenant Mock was very displeased with, as he very much believed in the glory of personal combat and being able to fight your opponent one-on-one. Something he very much believed the Death Star and its various other projects really took away from, where it took people away from the battlefield. But alas, he was just a lowly lieutenant at this point and couldn't really do much. So for the next 17 years, he really kept his gob shut and he continued working diligently, until eventually he gained the rank of General. His project once again, and his ideas, gained prominence once the Death Star had been destroyed and the Empire was pursuing other ways of putting down rebellion, while the Emperor sought a way of getting the materials together to build the second Death Star. So, the Dark Trooper project was taken out of mothballs, Mock was given command and had a custom-built ship known as the Arc Hammer, which was used for both construction and deployment of the troopers, as well as varying other facilities on other worlds. This included several robotics facilities, mineral plants, and various other things, including the use of smugglers. The result of this was originally 2 phases of droid-controlled Dark Troopers. The Phase 1, which was a close quarters combatant, utilising both a shield and a vibro sword, combined in the droid's framework. Now the effect of this was very much on Mock's very close quarters personal take on glorious combat. But it could still be destroyed from a long range to those who had either the ability to trick the droid and also have long range and heavy weapons. Though to help counteract this seeming weakness, all the Dark Troopers were built out of the Frick alloy, which, if those of you who have paid attention to a previous video, is a energy resistant material that is so powerful it can even resist the use of lightsaber attacks. Now, the Phase 1 was essentially just an exoskeleton, as I believe this meant it may have been a test bed for some of the later features that were added into future versions of the project. From this we get the Phase 2 Dark Trooper, which is a more heavily armoured version and looks more like a humanoid structure encased in armour. This would be equipped with a jetpack as well as a cannon that could fire both plasma-based weaponry and rockets. It is 4 of these that was deployed against a rebel base and destroyed it within minutes of them able to raise contact with the Rebel Alliance HQ, breaking through their shield and decimating the base. When Rebel Agent Kyle Katarn came to the base, all he could find was melted bodies and destroyed areas. It is my belief that if the Dark Trooper was to be deployed, it would be using the Tarkin doctrine to its fullest extent, even if it is a localised ground-based version of it. Now, the Phase 2 would be much harder to destroy than the Phase 1, and the fact that it can also fire back means that you are at a significant disadvantage. So the best way of taking out one of these creatures, well, these machines, is to continually move and continually fire at it. Eventually, with enough kinetic force, you will take the robot down. But this was really only still a test. While both the Phase 1 and the Phase 2 would have had great successes in augmenting the Empire's military capabilities, even with the Empire's stigma on droids, thanks to the Clone Wars, it was still only a test. The truest phase would have become from the Phase 3, which served both the role of a droid-controlled unit, but it also served a final function in that it was an exoskeleton. General Mock is actually known to have used one of these to battle Rebel Agent Kyle Katarn, and I'm pretty sure Kyle Katarn was only glad that only one of these things existed. As it's later discovered, Kyle Katarn is force sensitive and has all the benefits that come from having said force sensitivity, even if he's not actively trained in its use. And even then, it's a hard battle for Kyle Katarn. Now, seeing as Mock was using a prototype version of the suit, it's unsure whether or not any versions of this version of the project existed outside of it. However, if you have played the game Star Wars Emperor War Forces of Corruption, you can have the droid variant of this unit in-game. I'm not sure if that made it into the Legends canon or not, but it would be pretty cool if it did, although it would be, you know, a bit of a problem for the Rebel Alliance. Going on to a bit more about the capabilities of the Phase 3, it was armed with an assault cannon, which fired plasma-based weaponry and rockets, but it also had in its shoulders concealed heat-seeking missiles, as well as a coordinated mounted blaster. Like with anything past the Phase 2 version of the program, it had a jetpack, concealed grenades, and several thermal detonators, which does make it a deadly arsenal for anybody, and in the hands of a veteran stormtrooper, this truly would have been something the Rebel Alliance could not have stood against. Whether or not the Empire would have fully deployed it to all stormtroopers, as it was originally intended, or just select elite groups is another question entirely. One can only guess, and one can only hope. Just a quick one as well. I just quickly double-checked it while we've been talking. It turns out that the units that are evolved in the Forces of Corruption game are some of the units that were deployed to the Imperial Palace for its protection. They were only serving as the droid variant, though they hadn't been given the ability to incorporate a soldier into the Exo Suit. Probably for the best. For the rebels, anyway. Anyway guys, this has just been a short rundown of the Dark Trooper project. I may go into a full video onto each section of the project at some point. But hopefully this gives you a little bit of an idea behind the project and its various droids. If you enjoyed what you heard, feel free to like, comment and subscribe. Perhaps leave me a bit of criticism, as it helps the channel out a great deal, as I'll use it to improve what I'm doing. And if you do subscribe, please check the bells for notifications. Anyway guys, I will see you on the next episode of The Lost Archives. Have a good day and take care.